I've got one card in opposition, a second card in opposition, and so I'll invite Lenar Whitney from the Republican National Committee to speak.
Thank you very much, Lenar Whitney, Republican National Committee woman, speaking on behalf of the LA GOP. I thank you very much for your comments and the discussion that we had earlier. Thank you very much, Sharon, for Chairman, for qualifying and some information. The LA GOP does take the position, though, that we think that these expanded reasons for the request of an absentee ballot or too extreme, and so we are not in favor of this emergency statute. We do recognize that we want a safe voting place for all of our constituents to go and to express their right. But at the same time, we do think that when I was listening to some of the comments, I did a good side and a bad side, pro side and con side, and it seems like even with these expanded reasons here that there was still a lot of questions as far as getting it up and running by the time of the election. And there was some concerns even when he said, Secretary of State mentioned something about Washington State taking 5 years before they actually got some of their provisions all regulated and in place. And he also mentioned paper issues, scanning equipment, machines, the increase for more early voting ballots, and it going from like maybe perhaps 60,000 to 300,000, where did they even have the capability of handling all these additional requests? Signature verification, that was still a question also, and the need for additional personnel, whether it was at the Clerk of Court's office or it was at the Secretary of State's office. So just in listening to some of the comments that he made, it seemed as though that side of the table still was not ready to perform and ready to go, and we don't even know if these machines would even arrive on time, as opposed to staying as we are already and making provisions. He mentioned something about having additional commissioners come in. Well, we're in a state of emergency, and people kind of, we always say we pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. We kind of man up. So it might be an opportunity for us to say that we need more commissioners and people to come into, to help us at these voting polls. And then, of course, educating. We've got all kind of telecommunications now. It would be so easy just to get people educated, through the internet via conference calls or things so that we can have this. So it would be a twofold, basically, to have additional commissioners and also to have more people trained. And then also with the election sites, there were 32 out of the 2,000 election sites that were nursing homes or places where we didn't think that we would, they were considering not having the polls there. Well, that would be 32 sites that we could just change, that we would just find new and additional sites, which is like 1.5% of the voting places in the state of Louisiana that we would have to find new places. And that seemed like those two fixes would be an easier fix than some of these other provisions. And also for supply and demand, he mentioned something like the PPEs, and of course we want to have secure and safe places for everybody to come and vote and sanitize situations. I feel like in lieu of all the information that we're getting right now with the virus and the course that it's taking, the supply and demand will eventually catch up with itself by July for sure, where the PPEs are now in more production. And so sanitized wipes, as we're doing right here, everybody's following, basic protocols for, just cleaning up, whether we can do that at the on-site as that someone enters into the voting booth and also as they leave. So just with those provisions, it just seemed like there was a little bit more on the what-if side on the emergency status than it was things that we could probably make accommodations to handle a little bit more of what we're considering and dealing with at the time, and then to make a better decision. So just in the LA GOP, I just would like to just say that we're in opposition of this emergency status. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.